Leaders absolutely need to hear this. Are you committed to being an effective leader? I'm not here trying to pretend like this is easy. I'm not doing this from the perfect place. This type of leadership requires commitment. You can't just wake up willy-nilly every day. You got to wake up and be thoughtful. You got to wake up and care. We are privileged. We are privileged to have impact on the lives of other people. What you say and what you do as a leader, they will carry home with them. They will take it to their wives. They will take it to their husbands. They will take it to their children. They will take it to the other people that they have an impact on. If they're a leader too, they'll take it to their team. Are you willing to become anchored in who you are as a leader? Does it matter to you? Do you get emotional about it? Do people matter? Can someone from your team, if they feel anxious about something in their lives that has nothing to do with the work, can they call you? Can they call on you? Are you there just to support them, to lead them? That's leadership. I care about this, man. That's leadership. Who do you intend to be as a leader? Are you committed to becoming effective?
Let's lay your goals, let your greatness flow with inspirational perspective.
Today, what I want to do is help you really understand what the 20th century is so it can support and shift part of how you even perceive and think about the 21st century. And as a result, shift how you lead in today's environment, especially with how fast things are moving. So what we're going to do today is we're going to break down the 6 characteristics of effective leadership, define what effective leadership looks like in today's market, and also really dive into why inspiration, not just information, but inspiration is the fuel for leaders today. Like if you want to be an effective leader, that has to be part of the fuel that you push. One of the things I like to do when I'm having conversations like this is I like to shift the context. And the reason I want to shift the context is because it's interesting. I was talking to one of the young folks on my team, and they were kind of fretting about everything that's going on, right? You know, ICE is in Chicago, and it's like, what's happening? And I was like, well, you know, this is life on Earth. Like there's always been something going on. Right? Always. There's always been an opportunity for effective leaders to step into a space and shift things. This is not new. And I was kind of giving this person on my team some perspective around like, well, let's just back up 100 years. 1925. You just went through the Spanish flu. World War I just ended. The loss of life was crazy. Right? I mean, so when you think about it, even back then, they probably were thinking like, this is a horrible time. And I think we need that perspective as leaders. And that's one of the reasons I like to shift the context. So I want to go back a little bit further than that, though. I want to go back to 1863. And if you know what was happening in 1863, you know what was happening in 1863, Ade? No idea? None. 1863, very interesting year. You know about Juneteenth, though, right? You know, Juneteenth, things happen around then, maybe 2 years later, but part of the reason for Juneteenth. 1863, in particular, the summer of 1863, Abraham Lincoln was the commander-in-chief of the United States of America and the Union forces, the Northern forces. And he was engaged with a conflict with the Southern states. And the leader of the Southern states was General Robert E. Lee. All these names sound familiar? Okay. And General Robert E. Lee, at this point in time in the summer of 1863, was engaged in a battle with General George Meade. And General George Meade, most of us don't know, right? But he was, in essence, the general that is responsible for the victory of the North overall, okay? But I don't want to get in front of myself. General George Meade was the general who was in charge of the forces at Gettysburg. The Battle of Gettysburg. You familiar with this battle? Okay. All right. So now you clocking with me? 1863, Civil War, United States. Well, divided states, right? The Battle of Gettysburg. Now, I want to put this battle in context because this is the bloodiest battle of all time on American soil. In fact, over 50,000 men, the casualties amounted to over 50,000 men, right? The first time I ever shared this story, I was in a small town in Wisconsin called La Crosse. And I was speaking to the leaders at a SHRM conference for human resources. And the population of La Crosse was 52,000. I don't know what it is now, but back then, this is, I'm dating myself, like 2014 or something like that, 2013. Back then, when I gave that talk, the population of La Crosse was 52,000. So in essence, the Battle of Gettysburg was as if the entire population, like everyone was either killed or wounded in La Crosse. Like put that. So I just really want you to understand the context of this battle. So at this battle, General Robert Lee finds himself on the losing end, and he begins to retreat across the Potomac River. And as he retreats across the Potomac River, General Meade has a decision to make. And he sees what's happening. He sees his forces. He sees the bloodshed on both sides, right? And as a leader, he decides that instead of pursuing General Robert Lee across the Potomac, that he was going to stay put, right? He had won the battle. It was a decisive battle. And he decided that he was going to stay put. So word of the battle gets back to Washington. For my leaders, I really want you all to hear this part, okay? For any leader, I want you to hear this part because I want you to think about the things that go on in your business, maybe some things that you don't necessarily understand about what's, like, why did this person do this, right? They call you and they say, I did such and such. Why did this person do this, right? So imagine that you're President Lincoln, and here you are. You're receiving, and back then it came in a letter, right? Receiving this letter from a messenger that says the Battle of Gettysburg has been won. And you say, excellent. What happened to General Lee? Said, well, General Meade decided that he would stand down. And so General Lee is still at large, and he is on the other side of the Potomac River. Well, when President Lincoln heard this, he was livid. He was upset. Now, back then, he couldn't just text him, right? He couldn't just call him. In the book, one of the 24 lessons in this book is called The Power of the Strategic Pause. Man, leaders, there is so much power in a strategic pause. So because President Lincoln couldn't text or he couldn't call, he was forced to take a strategic pause. The name of the lesson is actually Stillness Precedes Power, okay? And you can see this picture of the leopard here. I'm giving away some of the cool pictures in the book, so you might want to be watching. And so there's power in a strategic pause. Stillness precedes power. So Abraham Lincoln, he's livid, and he goes into his office and he decides to write a letter to General Meade. And I want to read a bit of this letter to you. I have it here. I want to read a bit of this letter to you. He starts the letter off where he kicks it off with recognition, right? Got a lesson on that in the book too. General, I am very, very grateful to you for the magnificent success you gave the cause of the country at Gettysburg. And I am sorry now. Like, you did a good job, and I'm sorry now to be the author of the slightest pain to you. How respectful. we don't even talk like that no more, right? I am sorry now to be the author of the slightest pain to you. He then goes on to say, but I was in such deep distress myself that I could not restrain some expression of it. So I had to write you. I had to say something. I had to text you. I had to call you. I had to DM you. He ends the letter with, again, and you can imagine what's in the middle, right? We don't have to go through that. He ends the letter, and by the way, the source of this is Abraham Lincoln's autobiography. I'm the dude that reads stuff like that. But it was good. I mean, hopefully you're getting something from the story. You will get something from the story. Again, my dear General, I do not believe you appreciate the magnitude of the misfortune involved in Lee's escape. Now, here's the thing. The reason we have access to that letter is because after President Lincoln's assassination, it was found in his desk drawer. He never sent it. Why do you think that President Lincoln never sent that feedback? He never shared that feedback. He had an opinion. Why didn't he share that feedback? And in today's environment, with the immediacy of communication, would it have gone? Now, when you read his autobiography, the author talks about who General Meade was. And General Meade held himself as a man of honor. He was indeed an effective leader. He's the reason the North won. There's no question. And what President Lincoln knew is that if General Meade felt like he wasn't abiding by the wishes of the commander-in-chief, he would resign. You know what? I must not be the right man for this role. Please put the right commander in charge. And Abraham Lincoln knew that he was the right commander. He didn't agree with the decision. And I really want leaders to hear this. He didn't agree with the decision, but he also knew that the fate of the country sat in General Meade's hands. I don't like the decision you made at Gettysburg. I wish you hunted Robert Lee down and demolished that force, right? But he also knew that he wasn't privy to everything that was taking place on that battlefield. He wasn't privy to exactly who was a part of the casualties. He wasn't privy to how General Meade's leadership forces had been decimated. Like, he wasn't privy to any of that. And so he didn't send the letter. He didn't send the letter. And I believe the reason why President Lincoln didn't send the letter is one of two things. One is he understood the 6 characteristics of effective leadership that we're going to get into today. But he was also exercising emotional intelligence. Now, what is emotional intelligence? He was exercising emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is the ability for a leader to assess how their words, listen to me, how their words or their actions will impact the emotional state of someone they lead. That's emotional intelligence. I am intelligent about how I show up. How I show up impacts you. Emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is the ability to actually survey the future because of the relationship I have with you as someone that I lead, as someone that I've gotten to know on an intimate level, because emotional intelligence requires some level of intimacy. And nowadays, when it comes to leadership, I believe a lot of us believe they should be trying to get to know me versus as a leader, I should be trying to get to know them. So that way, I understand how my words and my actions actually land over there. I can be emotionally intelligent when it comes to them. Emotional intelligence. Linal, that's a whole lot of work. Well, leadership is a burden. Leadership is a burden. Another lesson in the book. The weight of command. The weight of command. You want to be in charge? Well, you have to carry the weight. President Lincoln was carrying a weight. He was carrying a weight. And so here we are. And this letter is still in his office, in his desk, after his assassination, because he was an emotionally intelligent man. And I want you to really think about the impact of a lack of emotional intelligence on the lives we live today because of that decision. As leaders, we have impact. If you're wondering why I'm beginning to focus on leadership, it's because I firmly believe that the work I've been doing is the part of my purpose where I'm supposed to play now, because leaders have impact. For you as a leader, what distinct lesson are you taking from this example? What distinct lesson are you taking from this example? How might you begin to shift your leadership? So, President Lincoln, he doesn't send the letter. In fact, I believe it takes courage, it takes foresight to move in quite that way. The question really becomes, are the actions you're taking inspiring others to do more, learn more, dream more, become more? If so, you're a leader. If the actions you take are pulling people down, demoralizing them, whether you know it or not, that means that you are ineffective in your leadership. So the next place that we're going to go, I'm going to kick it off now, and then I'll finish it when we get to past the break. But the next place I want to go is, all right, so now that we understand one of the 6 characteristics, and I spent the most time there on purpose because it's one of the most powerful characteristics of effective leadership, emotional intelligence. And it is one of the elements of leadership that every leader can transform in how they show up. You can actually practice developing emotional intelligence. We live in a world now where people be like, well, this is how I show up. If they don't like it, it's oh well. It's like we don't want to transform and change who we are and how we show up. But if you intend to be effective, it's incredibly important that you do. Emotional intelligence. I want you to go back in time with me. The way history is broken down is you have these eras, right? Or these ages. You have the Stone Age, right? Go back 8,000 BC. The Stone Age lasted 5,000 years. And I'm doing this on purpose. I really want you all to see something here. Then after the Stone Age, you had the Bronze Age. And I want you to notice that the eras are also defined by our innovations, right? Stone Age, we were using stone. Bronze Age, we were using bronze. Iron Age, we were using iron. I like to call it the Metal Ages, right? I just combined the two of them. And the Metal Ages were around 2000 BC, and together they lasted about 3,000 years. Okay? And this is all recorded in history. Then you have the Middle Ages, right? You have this dark period. You got the Dark Ages, by the way, right in between there. Not a lot of history on that. Part of the reason for that is because people like you and me were running the world. And so that's why you have this gap in history. You have a whole, matter of fact, you have a whole gap in history from like, around the time you got the Roman Empire, but right after that, it's like, what happened? Right? After you had the Council of Nicaea, then it was like, what happened? There's like hundreds of years of darkness. Call it the Dark Ages. But anyway, then when they started recording history again, you have the Middle Ages, 400 AD, after Christ's death, right? All the way through 1750. And by the way, some of the Dark Ages crept into that all the way up to 600 AD, when the Moors came in and took over most of Europe, built universities, etc. That lasted 1,500 years. 1,500 years, all the way to 1750. And then in 1760, that was the start of the Industrial Age. And the Industrial Age went from 1760 to 1990. That lasted 250 years. Are you noticing something with the eras? If you notice it, drop it in Facebook. We'll talk about it on the break. If you want to be a part of that conversation, you can go to facebook.com/Linal Harris, or you can go to youtube.com /Coach Linal Harris for Facebook, and for YouTube, youtube.com/Linal Harris. In 1990 was the start of the information age. And the information age went from 1990 to about 2022. And it ended there, 32 years. I predicted about 35, but then ChatGPT came in 22. And we are now at the very beginning, 32 years, right? Matter of fact, let's do this real quick before we go to break. Stone Age, 5,000 years. Bronze, Iron Ages, 3,000 years. Middle Ages, 1,500 years. Cut it in half. Industrial Age, 250 years. Dropped dramatically. Information Age, 1990 to 2022, 32 years. You see how fast things are moving? Artificial intelligence and robotics, 3 years in. We probably got, if we're lucky, 10 years. We saw how these eras moved and how they transformed so quickly. And so here we are, 3 years or so. You can maybe even say 5 years. You could say the information age was 30 years, and that really the AI and robotics started in 2020 with the pandemic, because you look at how we move virtually, Zoom, all this stuff. I mean, artificial intelligence was already doing its job. It was just behind the scenes. It was automated. Now we can manipulate it, whereas before we couldn't. So in many ways, you could say, like, really, the information age was 30 years. All right. When I want you to pay attention to something. If the industrial age was 250 years and the information age was only 30 years, do you see how small of a slither we have until the next era hits us? How fast change is moving? And here's the thing. If you're like, whatever with AI, it's a fad, I'm not going, like, that's about to come and change everything we do, and then something new's going to come right behind. Like, we got 5 to 10 years. If you do regression analysis on these numbers, we only got 5 to 10 years before we got to start shifting how we think about business again. And some of us haven't even shifted to AI yet. And we might have 3 to 5 before it shifts again. And then after that, you're talking about a couple of years and then months. And if you can't stay on top of it, you get left behind. This is an era that I call change cubed. You do a lot of math, our day coming up. You know your exponents, squared, cubed, stuff like that. I used to call it 10 years ago, change squared. But we are now, as leaders, living in a time that I define as change cubed, which is an exponent of 3 on change. All right, if you understand mathematics, you understand how important that is. Matter of fact, for those of you on Facebook and YouTube, if you get how important that is, give me some hearts. Give me some hearts where you're like, man, okay, like this is incredibly, incredibly important, okay? Incredibly important. So we live in this time called change cube. And being in this time, I want to go back to the beginning of the 21st century. Because if I'm making a claim that leaders don't understand the time that they're leading in, then I think we should take a very close look at the 21st century. Like, what is the 21st century? And what is this time frame that we're currently leading in? What is this time frame that we're currently leading in? Okay? Because, again, I don't think we fully understand it. So, number one, the 21st century started in 2001. 2000 was still a part of the 20th century. All right? And so 2001 was the beginning of the 21st century. Well, what happened in 2001, anybody? How did the 21st century kick off? I'm going to go through this real fast. All right, but think about it. How did the 21st century kick off? 2001, September 11th, 2001. How did the 21st century kick off? Boom, right? 9/11. And all of a sudden, we're at war with Afghanistan. We have a new term called terror. The stock market drops. This is how the 21st century kicked off. 9 months into the 21st century, this is how it kicked off. At the same time all this chaos was happening, Wikipedia was born, and so was TripAdvisor. There's opportunity in chaos. That's another lesson in the book. One of the leadership archetypes is the hyena. The hyena knows how to thrive in chaos. The 21st century is marked by chaos. Some folks don't want to be a hyena. Might be time to be a hyena and follow nature's leadership code. Hey, that's 2001. 2002, unemployment hits an all-time high. Americans have never seen anything like it. Guess what happened when unemployment was at an all-time high? LinkedIn was born. Interesting. Opportunity thrives in chaos. Are we in a chaotic time right now, folks? Opportunity thrives in chaos. Maybe you shouldn't be, I don't know what's going on. Maybe you should be thinking about, what can I do? How can I lead? Huh? That's what they were thinking about at LinkedIn. 2003, we go into Afghanistan. We overthrow Saddam Hussein. MySpace is born. 2004, the color revolutions take place all over Eastern Europe. Facebook is born. Hope y'all seeing this. I hope y'all seeing this. What is the 21st century? 2005, YouTube is introduced as a dating site. I want you to understand that these leaders at YouTube had to pivot for what it is today. It started as a dating site. Those leaders had to innovate. That's not working. This is not working. Right now, you might be a new entrepreneur. You're like, this is not working. Don't give up. Innovate. 2006, Twitter is introduced. North Korea also conducts nuclear tests. They on the map. 2007, Nepal's monarchy, that lasted for millennia is overthrown in days. Something is shifting. Something is sifting. 2007. What else happened in 2007? The iPhone comes. Are you all seeing this? If you're a leader and you don't have this as context, you don't know where you're leading and when you're leading. Like we are now 6 years into the 21st century, and all this is happening. All this is happening. 2007, President Patel becomes the first female to be elected as the president of India, y'all. The president of India. What is happening? What? India? Aren't Indians a little chauvinistic? You know what? It's chaotic. We need inspiring leaders. We need inspiring leaders. 2008, the global economy skids into another recession. Everything is dark. The end of 2008, November 2008, the United States of America says things are so dark, we would elect a black man if he inspires us. Barack Obama becomes elected president, first African-American president of the United States of America. Y'all see what's happening here? Change like you've never seen it before. 2010, Julia Gillard becomes the first female elected prime minister of Australia. All these first back to back. 2010. 2016, the pendulum swing. Donald Trump is elected president of the United States. And then we go into 2020, a global pandemic. These are the first 2 decades of the 21st century. The first 2 decades. As a leader, where are you focused? On the bad? If you focus on the bad, then all you see is the terror, the war, the economic recession, and the unemployment. That was there. If you focus on the bad. If you focus on the good, what you see is innovation, democratic revolution, and inspirational leadership. Inspirational leadership. Inspiring leaders are not just taking steps forward. They're taking leaps forward. Why? Because there's a vacuum. We don't have people that know how to lead. Now, I want you to imagine this. When were you born? What year were you born, Ade? What year?
95.
In 1995. You were 6 years old when 9/11 happened. Contextually, how was that for you?
Yeah, it wasn't.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. How you see the 21st century is different from how I see it. I remember walking through the cafeteria. I worked at Allstate Insurance. On the screens were in the cafeteria were planes flying into those buildings. It's my first real corporate job. Everybody was quiet. Some people were crying. I'll never forget it. I want you to ask yourself, if you were 10 years old at the beginning of the 21st century, how would you see the world? And then for those of us who are older, Gen X, baby boomers, trying to lead them, are we really clear on how they see the world? Are we really clear on how they view leadership in particular? Because, by the way, all this happened under some of our watch. I wasn't quite old enough to lead, but some of us, this happened on our watch. Jack Welch, I shared this quote before. He said every manager over 35 should be considered dangerous. That's including me. Why? Because the rhythm of business hasn't changed in 40 years, yet everything else has. Some of us believe we don't have to change our rhythm because we've been successful. I'm telling you, the way things are about to change, if you don't change your rhythm, you will not be successful long. We have to change our rhythm. Part of changing that rhythm is, how do I become an effective leader? But guess what? A recent study on North American leaders found that only 11% of leaders in North America can be considered effective. Only 11%. Right now, I got to tell you something, man. Right now, We got leaders listening who, if I ask them, are they effective? They go, I'm effective. But guess what? The stats say only 1 in 10 of you are. I could say 10 leaders call me right now. 10 leaders call me right now. Give the phone number. 10 leaders can call. Only one of them on that line would be effective according to the data. Only one. Only one. It's time out for saying it ain't me, because this is saying that it's most of us are ineffective. Most of us are ineffective according to the data. That's what the people we lead are telling us. You are ineffective, sir. You are ineffective, man. So then if we're going to become effective, what are the 6 characteristics of an effective leader? How do I become an effective leader? Hey, if you're enjoying what you're watching right now, do me a quick favor. I want you to hit the like button and make sure you subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to tap the notification bell so you never miss when we drop new content. Seriously, it means the world that you're here. Thanks for watching, and let's get back to it. What are the 6 characteristics of effective leadership? Well, we talked about one last week. Number 1, the first characteristic of an effective leader is respect, respectful. An effective leader is first and foremost respectful to the people that they lead. Now, what is respect really? I told the story of how I came into a new company in 2005. I thought I was a great leader. I thought I was an effective leader. I went through the forum. I saw the people go up. I'm like, I'm going to be the one. I told the story, right? I'm going to be the one that goes up there. The next year comes by. You know, I'm sitting there. They don't call my name. I'm mad. I'm like, what's going on? My people don't know who they got. They got a great leader, right? I get my survey results. Respect is the lowest score. Looks like I'm ineffective. Looks like I'm ineffective. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. Fast forward, HR's going through the results with me and my team. I get the feedback from them that, yeah, here's how you're being disrespectful, Linal. You're looking at your phone when we talk to you. You do this. You don't give us your full attention in one-on-ones. You disrupt them for other leaders, etc. You're disrespectful. You want to know why that was hard for me to see? Because when my senior leaders did it to me, I didn't see it as disrespect. As a leader, I was following the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And if you did it to me and you were my leader, I wouldn't see it as disrespect. I'm also Gen X. I was led by baby boomers, right? I see things differently. What I perceive as respectful and disrespectful is just different. I was leading millennials. They were like, hey, you got to pay attention to me. When I'm talking, I need you to listen. Right? A lot of times we'll say, oh, they're so needy. Oh, they need this. Gen Z. Look at Gen Z. Yeah, but do you know them? Do you know them well enough to understand what respect looks like for them? Are you going to change the whole generation? Or as a leader, do you intend to be effective where you learn the generation? Respectful. 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 Respect is not the golden rule. Respect is creating a level of intimacy where I know you so well, I understand what respect looks like for you. This is, when we look at only 11% of leaders in North America are effective, I believe that one of the largest reasons why is because we don't slow down long enough to understand the people that we lead, so we know what respect looks like to them. We become so highfalutin. We got all the titles. We come and go. We don't even understand the impact we're having on people. We don't understand when we walk out the room, they frown. When you walk in, they, how you doing, sir? How you doing, ma'am? Oh, they like me. When you walk out the room, they're like, oh. You think we're getting done if that's how they feel? You think there's a high level of productivity? You think you can move the needle as a leader if that's how they feel? You and your whole department will sink. Respect. Characteristic number 1. Now, I want you to notice something. I actually taught you how to do all these things already. This is why we had to go through that first. If you missed the first series, the first 3 series, you gotta go back. You gotta go back now. And let me say this, and I'm not exaggerating. If we were to add up the dollar amount for the value of the training I've shared on the air over the last 3 or 4 shows, you're already at $100,000, over $100,000. You think if a company, the kind of companies that call me, the Prudentials, the Googles, the Levi Strauss and companies, the Ulta Beauties, the Foot Lockers, they're like, you think they called me up, hey, can you come in and do this? I'm like, oh, I'll come do it for a couple of, no, man, you want me to work with your leaders? Like it's going to cost you, because this ain't easy. It's not easy to teach. How do we make sure they get it? How do we make sure they walk away with it? How do we make sure they practice it? It's more than just listening to the words. Characteristic number 2 of an effective leader is this is a leader that leads with integrity. A leader that leads with integrity. I'm not talking about the integrity that's on the wall, right? On the wall at the office, integrity. I'm talking about the integrity that you can feel, the integrity that you know, the integrity that's consistent, the integrity that you can rely on. Rely on. The folks on my team know they're going to get paid on payday. Right? They know that. Integrity. What is integrity defined? Integrity, I want you to hear this. Integrity is the commitments that you make. By the way, this is your integrity. This ain't somebody else imposing on you. Because most people, the organization may say one thing, but they look at their leader, right? People don't leave jobs, they leave leaders. So when it comes to integrity, if they're leaving, it's because of you. Why are they leaving? Because you made a commitment, but your actions didn't align and your words didn't align. That's inconsistent. That doesn't feel healthy for me. I got to go. Your commitments, your words, your actions. Your commitment, I'm sorry, I did it in the wrong order. Your commitment, your words, your actions, all aligned. I can trust this leader. When they say what they say, they're going to do it. I can trust this leader. Your commitments, your words, your actions. This is why every leader needs to have a leadership commitment that they're anchored in. I'm anchored in it, even when it's hard. I know the choices I need to make. I know the words I need to spew, right? Wouldn't it be nice is when we went to the polls, instead of all these commercials, all we had was just clear leadership commitments. It's a Democrat. I don't care. What's his leadership commitment? It's a Republican. I don't care. What's his leadership commitment? And how has he shown us that commitment over the time he's been in office? Right now, I think we have all new folks, all new senators, all new congressmen and women, all new, and definitely a new president. If that's how we were voting. And by the way, that's not a political statement. I'm just calling it like I see it. Don't get mad at me. What is integrity? Leads with integrity. That's effective leadership. What is integrity? Commitment, words, actions aligned. I'm looking at myself right now. Forget everybody else. It's like, man, am I showing up this way? Am I showing up this way as a leader? Characteristic number 3, values-based leadership. Values-based leadership. As a leader, do you know your core values? That's what people need, man. In a world where change is queued, where change is coming so fast, the last thing I need is to worry about if my leader's going to show up upset, irritated, short, come Monday morning. It's the last thing I need. It's the last thing organizations need. We see it happening. Leading by a clear set of core values. What are your core values? Do people know what you believe in? Are you predictable in that way? You know, a lot of times they say predictable people are boring. But guess what else? You feel safe. I bet you feel safe. I bet you feel safe. Number 3, values-based leadership. See, I taught you how to do all this already, right? We went there. We didn't go as deep. And one of the things I plan to do in 2026 is to take the leadership community of Nature's Leadership Code. Like, we're going to go deep into this all throughout the year. Characteristic number 4. Characteristic number 4 is counterintuitive. But characteristic number 4 is a leader that knows how to hold people accountable. That really ties in with leads with integrity. How many times have you seen people do things in the office place, do things in the business, and you look at the leader and the leader, you know, a lot of times it's convenient to be busy then versus actually have the hard conversation. When I heard this one, I was at a readout, and I stood in line for 30 minutes because it felt counterintuitive. Because part of how these 6 characteristics were born was from surveys that went out to individuals and how they assessed their leaders, right? Top 6 characteristics of effective leadership. And I said, you mean the people who were being led by these folks complained about accountability? And likely they were complaining about what they saw, what they didn't see for their peers, right? They should be held accountable. But I knew that part. But I'm like, is that what they actually are saying? They want to be held accountable? So I went up and I asked a consultant who was sharing this information. It's at the University of Chicago. I said, hey, can you tell me more about characteristic number 4, holding people accountable? Like, it seems counterintuitive. And when I work with leaders, a lot of times, that ain't, that's it's hard to do. And it feels like if I hold you accountable, you don't like me anymore. Like my stock falls with you. And she said, it's quite the opposite. She asked me if I had children. At the time I did. And I said, no, I had no children. She said, okay, well, with children, and I get this now, with children, they want to know that they matter. And one of the ways they know that they matter is when you hold the line on the things you say are important. It's no different than with leaders. It's no different than with employees. She was like, employees want to know that they're valuable. If the role that they play is valuable, that means you must speak up. And if you don't speak up, they begin to question their value. They become disengaged. And I was like, it made so much sense. But I was like, so then why is the conversation so difficult? And she was like, you always have to speak into resistance. Light bulb moment. Yes. Whatever it is I'm supposed to do is always met with resistance. Typically, it's the resistance to the interpretation I have of how the other person is going to feel. But effective leaders know how to hold people accountable. Characteristic number 5, which is providing timely feedback. Providing timely feedback. I don't care who you are. You don't want to hear about something that happened a month ago. That's why performance reviews have the flavor they have in most people's mouths. Because here I am sitting with you for my 2025 performance review, and you start talking about something I did back in May of 2025. I had no idea that was a problem. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And now you're just now telling me? What? How do you expect somebody to respect you if you do that to them? If you know what, as a leader, if I missed it, I don't even write it. You know what, I meant to say this to them. I can't even put this on the page, man. I'm going to bring this up now, a year later. Providing timely feedback. As a leader, are you a coward? Do you hide behind performance reviews instead of holding your people accountable every day, every week, every month, providing that feedback? Do you hide behind performance review You spew everything out, 45 minutes. Oh, I got to get to the next one. Sorry. Give them a meets expectation and 2%, 1.5% raise, and then you expect to be effective. You're just trying to survive. You're doing it the easy way. It's only a matter of time before you lose your leadership. You can't go on that way. Here's the other thing. What you're dropping in terms of karma is going to swing back on you one day. Do you want that? You want to be led that way? Come on. For those of us who are leaders, we got to step up, man. Now, here's the other thing I hear on characteristic number 5, providing timely feedback. Linal, you don't understand how busy I am. Right, but if you have a team and you understand what it means to lead, that means you have someone on the team who is functioning in a way that is not rowing the whole team forward. Like, think about you on a rowboat, right? Everybody's rowing. If somebody's not rowing in the way they should be rowing, you got to put down your oar and say, yo, row differently. Otherwise, y'all going to be going left. Y'all going to be going right. You're going to crash into something. You got to stop. It's that imperative. It's the same way in business. The problem is many of us are asleep behind the wheel. And that's why companies like Blockbuster crash. That's why companies like Kodak crash. That's why these companies crash. That's why they get bought out. That's why you have mergers and acquisitions. And nowadays, you don't even know a company is failing because they just get bought. Half the time, they didn't intend to sell. There were little small characteristics across senior leadership that were going unaccounted for that made them ineffective. And because they were ineffective leaders, they became ineffective in the marketplace. Providing timely feedback, the ability to pause and have the conversation, no matter how busy you are. Characteristic number 6, effective coaching. Effective coaching. Now, some folks going to think, I'm an effective coach. Let me tell you about coaching. Don't. A lot of times folks say, Linal Harris is my coach because they listen to the show. This is teaching. Linal Harris is your teacher, not your coach. Because the thing about coaching, this is the first thing I learned when I went through my coaching certification course, is that a great coach listens twice as much as they speak. Effective coaching is a top characteristic, which means as a leader, I actually got to shut up and listen. And it makes me more effective. How does that work? Well, because now you're being respectful. Now you know what the person is thinking. Now you know. Now you actually know how to hold them accountable. Now you know what respect looks like to them. Right? Now you know things that you didn't know. And maybe instead of accusing them, effective coaches ask questions. You ask questions. You seek to understand. You assume positive intent. That's what every good coach does. Here's the other thing good coaches do. They don't cast judgment. Six characteristics of effective leadership. Number 1, respectful. Number 2, leads with integrity. Number 3, values-based leadership. Number 4, holds people accountable. Number 5, provides timely feedback. Number 6, effective coaching. Only 11% of leaders do this. Only 11%. So here's the question for you. If you call yourself a leader, what characteristics will you focus on developing going into 2026? What do you need to develop? What do you need to develop? Whatever it is, write it down. Take a moment, write it down. Get present to it. What do you need to develop as a leader? One of the things I talked about was inspirational leadership. You may have noticed it's not on the list. Well, Linal, you said inspirational leadership is what's moving, was the thing that people saw. Well, here's the thing. Like, People vote based on their emotions, not on data. And by the way, we know this to be true because every commercial you see during a political campaign creates some level of emotion. If it was all based in data, they might throw some data out there to create an emotion. Senator so-and-so voted on this, right? That's data. But the way they say it, the way they cast it is to create an emotion, right? So inspiration is emotional. Inspiration is emotional, okay? So if inspiration is emotional, then how do you create that emotional link with the people that you lead to the point where they call you an inspirational leader? Again, remember the power of emotional currency. So do I want the people who are working for me to have positive emotional currency as they do their work? I think we can all agree the answer is yes, especially as an entrepreneur, right? When they think about me, I want them to think, I want to do some great stuff here. This matters. This matters. I would hope some of the folks that work for me are 1099s. I would hope that based on my leadership, what they bring to my account is different than what they bring to another account. Like this person, like, they disrespectful. They like, I'm just okay. They want X, Y, and Z. Let me give them X, Y, and Z. Period. Right? I would hope that as an inspirational leader, they'll say, well, he wants X, Y, and Z. What he doesn't know is that he needs A, B, and C. So let me have a conversation with him, or let me just do it and give it to him. And guess what? Because he's not disrespectful, if the hours go up, he ain't going to cuss me out. Right? He might ask a question. Hey, what happened here? Well, I worked on such. Oh, okay, great. Inspirational leadership. Whew. My goodness. So, how does an effective leader become inspirational? Remember I talked about courageous leadership? They have courage. Now, you might be going, really, Linal, that's it? Well, the HAVE is an acronym for something. So let's walk through the acronym, HAVE, okay? But it takes courage. Inspirational leadership takes courage. Why? Because you're typically speaking into the resistance. You're typically speaking into the resistance. Inspirational leadership is saying what's not popular, but then people hear and they go, that's right. So what does it mean to have courage? The H in have is to be humble. To be humble. Humble leadership. It's not an oxymoron. It's powerful. Humble leaders. Humble leaders listen. Humble leaders coach. Humble leaders ask questions. They don't know everything. They have to pause. Humble leaders take strategic pauses. The A is for authenticity. I'm myself. One of the chapters in the book is Nature Knows a Fraud. Nature knows a fraud. Guess who else knows a fraud? People do. Human beings are wired to figure out frauds. If you don't show up as yourself, it's the fastest way to lose support. Oh, they fake. They're trying to be somebody else, trying to talk like somebody else. Human beings appreciate authenticity even when they don't like it. The V in have is for vulnerability. Like, do you share your weaknesses? Do the members of your team know things about you that other people wouldn't know because they don't work for you? Vulnerable. Oh, that's interesting, man. I struggle with that too. Really? Oh, it doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. Now I trust them. Oh, man, I didn't. Wow. I like Linal. Okay, I can rock. Like, okay. He sees me. I see him. That's cool. I actually work for a human being. What do you think the E is? We talked about it this morning. We kicked the show off with it this morning. What do you think the E is? Emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence. And when a leader is doing this, they're having courage. Have courage. Have courage. Humility, authenticity, vulnerability, and emotional intelligence. What makes a humble leader powerful? I'll read some of the responses I get. What makes a humble leader powerful? What makes a humble leader powerful? What makes a humble leader powerful? Because sometimes we get it mixed up. Like humility ain't powerful. What makes a humble leader powerful? Here's the second question I want you guys to drop in the chat for me on YouTube and Facebook. How can vulnerability support inspirational leadership qualities? How can vulnerability support inspirational leadership qualities? I'm going to give you one. I told a story a show ago about how I failed as a leader. That's vulnerability. Not a big deal. I'm okay with vulnerability, right? I'm not perfect, and I'm willing to share it. You know why? Because I know you're not perfect either. How do I know? Because you're human, right? If you bleed like me, you lack perfection too. So why are we not being vulnerable together? I'll tell you a vulnerable story. You can tell me one. That's how I see it. It's that simple. If I'm moving around as if I'm perfect, guess what I lack? Authenticity. Do you think I can connect to people if I lack authenticity? Hey, I'm a human being. If you're a part of Slayer Goals, if you work with me, if I coach you, I make mistakes. I don't try to hide them. You know what I say? Oh, wow, sorry. How's that? That's novel. I'm so sorry. I missed that. I apologize for the impact that had on you. Is there anything I can do to make that up? Anything I can do to make it better? Right? Let's figure something out. How can I be more flexible as a result of my humanity? It's okay. It's all right. Here's the big question I have for you to end the show. By the way, if this show made a difference for you, you're on Facebook, you're on YouTube, like give me some hearts. Let me know, like, hey man, this hit the point. If it made a difference for you, please share the link. Leaders need to hear this. Leaders absolutely need to hear this. Here's the question. This morning, if you're watching, I want you to just put a yes in the stream. Are you committed to being an effective leader? Are you committed to it? You see why leadership requires commitment? This stuff is not easy. Leadership is not easy. I'm not here trying to pretend like this is easy. Already, as I was sharing this, I'm looking at things in my own leadership that I got to go clean up. Did I tell you I wasn't perfect? Right? I'm like, okay, man. Right? I'm going through it. I'm like, things are coming to my mind. Oh, Linal, you need to have a conversation. Okay, Linal. Right? I'm not doing this from the perfect place. Right? I'm a teacher that learns from what I teach. Hey, what about you? Are you committed to becoming effective? Part of that is having a very clear leadership intention, a very clear leadership commitment. Are you committed this morning? Are you committed? Because this type of leadership requires commitment. You can't just wake up willy-nilly every day. You got to wake up and be thoughtful. You got to wake up and care. We are privileged. We are privileged to have impact on the lives of other people. What you say and what you do as a leader, they will carry home with them. They will take it to their wives. They will take it to their husbands. They will take it to their children. They will take it to the other people that they have an impact on. If they're a leader too, they'll take it to their team. Are you committed? Are you willing to become anchored in who you are as a leader? Does it matter to you? Do you get emotional about it? Do people matter? Do they matter to you? Do their lives matter to you? What's happening for them matter to you? Can someone from your team, if they feel anxious about something in their lives that has nothing to do with the work, can they call you? Can they call on you? Are you there just to support them, to lead them? That's leadership. I care about this, man. That's leadership. It's a calling. It's a privilege. It's an honor. It's a blessing. It comes with power, but with power comes great responsibility. Are you thoughtful with the power? Do you hold the power as precious? Somebody asked me, not too long, I was at a leadership conference this week. They said, Linal, what drives you? What drives you? What makes you want to be better? Why are you setting certain revenue goals in your business? I said, man, there are people who depend on me. Every week, there's payroll. There are people who depend on me. Not just my family. Like my family depends on me, but there are other people. And then I realized that there are folks out here who can't get a job. And if the Creator can just bless me to take revenue to another level, I can hire one or two more people. I can change their lives. I can touch them in a different way. I can take these lessons and craft them, and maybe they'll become leaders one day who operate and lead in the same way. This thing matters, man. It's not I set these revenue goals. It's not a selfish endeavor. It's a community endeavor. Who do you intend to be as a leader? Are you committed to becoming effective? Jim Rohn said this about leadership, one of my favorite leadership quotes. Every time I read this, I think about his voice. He has that sing-song voice. The challenge of leadership is to be strong, but not rude. To be kind, but not weak. To be bold, but not bully. To be thoughtful, but not lazy. To be humble, but not timid. To be proud, but not arrogant. To have humor, but without folly. Jim Rohn. That's the challenge. That's the challenge. Are you up for the challenge? Are you willing to take the challenge? Thank you for watching Inspirational Perspective. If you love this show and you want to see more content like this, you can go right here. And if you like this subject and you want to see much more content that we have available for you, just click the button here. As always, thanks for watching. Be sure to watch the show live, 7 a.m. every Sunday morning on WBON Radio, or you can catch it right here on YouTube or Facebook.com/Coach Linal Harris. Be sure to hit that like button. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe so we can get more content just like this to you.